Becca and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to put this beautiful quilled Bluebell card together. It's really easy to do. It's just a few basic shapes and some cutting out. You don't need any fancy templates or anything like that to make these ones. I've just put some flat back gems on as the embellishments on the corners, as you can see. But you could use Nouveau drops, you could use tight quilled coils, there's lots of different options. This is just what I've decided to use, and say it's just a beautiful simple card and doesn't take long to do. So okay, so to make our Bluebell card I'm using a 6x6 card blank. If you've not got any of the pre-bought and scored ones, all you need is a piece of cardstock that is 12 inches by 6 inches. Along the 12-inch side, score down at 6 inches and fold and burnish, and then you've got your card blank ready there. And you're also going to need some green paper, coloured paper. This is for doing the leaves on the flowers, and then you're going to need some sort of lavendery blue coloured cardstock, and that measures 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. That's going to be our mat, and then our layer is going to be 5.5 by 5.5, and I've got this in white because this is the colour that we're going to do our working on. So what I'm going to show you how to do first is actually put the flower heads together. As you can see, I've already got some ready here. There we go. I have done these in a previous video. I'll just bring them up and show you again. They're just made out of 3 little teardrops, and I'll show you how to do them again, so don't worry, you don't need to go and have a look at that video just for that. And the quilling strips that I'm using are 2mm ones because it's a greetings card. I might be sending it through the post. I want the embellishments to be as thin as possible because we all know what the postage prices are like these days, and the thinner the item, the cheaper it is. So I've got the lavendery purple colour that we're using for bluebells, and then I've got some green which is going to be for the stems. Now, to make 2 flower heads you need 3 strips. These strips are 35 centimetres in length. What we're going to do is we're just going to take our strips, fold them in half, and just going to snip them in half. So we'll get 6 pieces. So for each flower you need 3 of these. Okay, so do 1 at a time. Okay, and then you just want to take your... Apologies if you can hear the fan in the background again, it's still rather warm here in England, and without the fan I would bake. So I apologise if you can hear it in the background. So you just want to take your quilling tool, and just make a tight coil, and then we're going to release it. Not too much because we want these flowers to be rather delicate, so we'll just open it up, not the whole way, probably about half the way, and I'm just going to pop some glue if it wants to come out. And I literally have just cleared this. I think this is just shows you how warm it is. It's trying to glue that quickly. Let's try again. There we go. And then just stick your end down, and all we're going to do is pinch. So we want them to be quite narrow teardrops. So we want to make 3 of those. So now we've made our 3 teardrops. Maybe it's out of way a minute, so I'm focusing on it so much. With 2 of them, you want to make them bended teardrops. So if you just push in the middle, it sort of makes this little filigree shape, so bended teardrop. So you need 2 of them to be like this. So do your other one. So you can see a little bit better. And then if you've got one of these quilling boards, or cork quilling mods, I'm not right sure what they actually call them, but the ones that help you size your shapes. Or even if you've not got one of these, if you've got a cork memo board or a placemat that's got the cork underneath, that's a good surface for you to do it on. You can cover them with wax paper as well, but these are just really tiny things, I'm not going to need to do that. So we're going to take the two bended teardrops, let me get you in close so you can see a little bit better, and then we want the two bended teardrops to be facing away from each other, as you can see, and then we just want to put a little glue down the side that's going to be touching, and then pop them together at the bottom. Okay. And then I'm just going to put some glue on top of the join. Don't worry if you just using PVA, this dries clear, so don't worry about it. And just take your regular teardrop and pop it on the top in the centre. Just pop it, push it down, and then allow it to dry. So these are a good thing for you to make beforehand, so that you can just let them be drying. That's all you need to do. So that's those. And then the other thing that you could do with doing and letting dry is your stems. So I've already got some of these ready, but I'm going to show you how to do it anyway. One's stuck to the table. I think I've glued it in now. So you want to take your green quilling strips. Zoom a bit back out for you now. So all we're doing is just taking one of these strips. Now depending on how many heads you make is how many stems you need to make. So I just take one of the green strips, fold it in half. Okay, just make a crease. And we're just going to put some glue all the way along one side. We only need a little bit. Although it doesn't look like I'm putting much on the camera, but it's just a tiny amount. So it's with the quilling strips being so thin. You don't need much at all. Don't worry if you miss any spots going along, because what we're going to do next is we'll push the glue up from the centre anyway. Okay, so I'm just going to fold it back together, start from the crease line and just stick it together. Just running your fingers along just to smooth it out and make sure that both pieces are in line with each other. Then when that dries solid, you'll get a more firm piece like this. So you'd want to make yourself a few of those and let those be drying as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put our card base together, and we're just going to take our piece of coloured card. So you might decide that you want to do it a different colour. This is just what I'm using. So if you want to do it the same sort of colour as your bluebells, this was the nearest colour that I've got. It looks quite blue on the camera now I'm looking at it, but it's not. It's more of the purpley bluebell colour that you'll see. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick this into the centre of the card. I'm just going to use some colour. And then just leave a nice little white border all the way around. Press it down. And then the exact same thing with the white. Okay, we'll let that dry. Now what you can do before you put the white on, you can stamp your sentiment on, but if like me you've just forgot to do it before you put it on, you can do it while it's on the card blank. So if you've got a stamping platform like I have here, and make a little bit more room. This one has little magnets in it, so it keeps things in place a bit better for you. So now this is when you need to decide whether if you're going to have your fold on the left hand side or going along the top. I think I'm going to be going along the top. So this is where my card's going to be. Now I want to put my sentiment in this top left hand corner because I want my bluebells to be over in this side. So let's just put magnets on, and this helps keep it in place so that when you're putting your layers on and coming backwards and forwards, it doesn't move out of that spot. So I'll put another one up here so that it just doesn't move that top corner. Now the stamp set is the puzzle sentiments from Crafter's Companion. As you can see, I've got them in the sale, and I'm going to be using the birthday wishes to you stamp, but I am going to be cutting this stamp up because I just want the birthday wishes, but I'm going to keep it next to the to you for the future so that I know that that's the one that goes with it. So take that stamp, don't be afraid to chop up your stamps and have them in a different formation from what you get them in when you get the packet. And I'm just going to use my scissors and just cut up like that, and then you've got a separate sentiment. Now if you've not got stamps or you're not into stamping, you could use peel-offs, or you could write it on yourself, or if you've got some printed toppers or anything like that, you can use them. This is just what I'm using because this is what I've got. So put this where I want it to go. Get rid of that there. Because I want to leave this corner free here because I might put some Nouveau drops or something. I haven't quite decided yet. So I'm just going to put the standing platform across, put this down, and then just picked up the stamp now. I'm using the Spectrum Noir Noir Black ink pad. It's from Crafter's Companion. You don't have to use black, this is just what I've got on my table, to be honest. You can do it in other nice different colours. Now whenever you're doing inking, take your ink to the stamp, not the stamp to the ink. I've learnt this because if you take the stamp to the ink, you can't really do it with these platforms, but with like rocker blocks and things like that, you can put too much ink going down onto the inside of your stamp and it can spoil the image. So now I'm going to put that in. See, and that's where I've touched the plastic, but it'll not go onto the card now because we've got it raised up. Just pushing down and then lift it back up. Now if it's not as clear a stamp as you want it to be, just ink it up again, pop it down again. Okay, and that's a bit more crisp. As you can see, that first time it was a bit mockledy. Second time round, that's perfect. So we want to let that dry. Okay. So what we're going to do now is just decide on whereabouts we want our little daffodil. Not daffodil, they're a totally different flower and a different colour. Bluebell. It's alright, I think the brain stayed in bed. Right. So you just want to decide where you want to put your little bluebell flower heads in your arrangement. Now this is totally up to you. I have no idea how I'm going to do this. This is just playing and seeing what I like. So you have them going in different directions because not all always going in the same direction in the wild. So, and again, however many you want to pop on, that is totally up to you. So depends on what sort of look you're going for. Now when I see bluebells, they're either generally facing to the side or down whenever I've seen them. So I've not really seen them ever sticking up that way. They might go that way. This is just how I've always seen them when I've been out walking and things. So see how. Got 6 there. I'll put some. If you want them at different heights. Sorry, I mess around quite a lot when I'm doing these. I just want to get them separated. I know they look like they're floating at the moment, but all will be well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my glue and actually lower them down a little bit. So I might add a butterfly on at some point, because there's usually butterflies going around when you're seeing wildflowers. Okay, so you just want to take each about and just put some glue on the back and pop them down. Okay, so I'm just going to carry on and do these, so I'll speed this up. I actually don't want to watch it in real time because that'd be really boring, and so I've got my flower heads position where I want them to go. Now you want to take your strips that we've glued to make the stems, and then you just need to decide on whereabouts you want them to go. Now these are very thin, and you are going to need quite a few, so well, one per flower, and that's generally what you're going to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to glue it on its side. So if you just sort of decide how far you want them to come down, and then you get your scissors and just pick it up with the end of your scissors, and then you can snip it at where you want it to go. And say this might come in handy for another one. So that one's going to go there like that, so, and then you just take glue and pop it where you want it to go. Again, if this doesn't go exactly where you want it to go, the glue will dry clear. And if you use the collal glue and stuff, you can rub it away if it goes into a place where you don't want it to go. And I'm just leaning the top of the stem up against the flower. You can see what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue just there, and it will sink down in between the flower and the stem, and that will keep it propped up. Now the leftover piece, see, a pair of tweezers is handy for when you're doing these, but see when we went and forgot to pick them up. Things come undone. Try this again. Probably not helping that the fan's on. So when I have these ideas, I forget to think that it might be red out here where I do my filming, and that I'll have to have the fan on. But get there in the end. Okay. Right, that one's stuck now. So with the leftover piece from that one, be able to do this lower one here, or possibly I could do one of the other ones. We'll do this shorter one. So I might just want to curl this one because it's going to be close to the other. So again, if you just mark it up against where you want it to go, just roughly. And then pick it up with the end of your scissors if you can, and then snip. And we've just got this little bit left over. So this one's more facing down the flower, so just put them in. I'm just going to curl the end more, just by pulling at it with my nails. And then I'm just going to pop it up against the flower again, and then along the line where I've just put for the stem. And again, if you want to just put a little bit of glue here, it'll sink down in between the flower and the stem, and they'll stick together. Okay, I've done that again. Okay. Now, because the freestanding, this is what you might have to take a bit of time doing. You can't really rush this part, but just taking a pin and just popping it into where I want it to go. See, if you haven't got all the tools that people say that you need, you can always find an alternative. So I'm going to do this on high speed because again, you don't want to see me doing this in real time, and I'll come back to you once I've finished the stems. So I've got all the stems put on, and if you did watch it through that part and didn't fast forward, you'll have seen me that this one here, I put the stem to meet up with the first ones that I've done, and then I continued it by adding a second piece and then curling it out the opposite direction, just so that they gather together in the centre like that. So I've got all those done, and they're drying up nicely. So what we're going to do now is create some leaves for the bluebells. Now all I'm going to do is I've taken some green paper. This is quite a thick paper, and I've cut it into strips of 1 inch, and then I'm just folding it in half. Doesn't have to be precise, so don't worry if it's not perfect. Now if you do want it to be perfect, you could always use a scoreboard and score it down, but for what we're going to do, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so I'm just going to cut that into half. This is 8x8 paper that I'll use, so I'm going to chop it just into 4-inch chunks. And then we're going to take our strip here. Now I've got the fold on the left. If you're left-handed, you might find it easier doing it that way. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to start at the bottom, and I'm just going to cut out of half of a leaf shape. Now I'm going to start out doing them quite long. If you've seen daffodils in the wild, they are quite long leaves. That's a bit too another piece, and then when we open it up, we've got our leaf shape. Now for the size of the daffodils, I'm obsessed with daffodils today. Go on, have a laugh at me, you can. These are just a tad too big for these ones, so what I'm going to do is trim these down. So I'll just take a little bit off. always easier to take something off than it is to add it back on. So as you're doing it, just keep testing, and that seems more like it. And then we've got our crease down the centre of the leaf, so we've got that. Okay, so I'm going to go create a few more of these. Okay, so I've got my leaves made. Now again, it's up to you as to how many of these leaves you want to put on. So let's just see. Actually, do get quite a lot of green in with this. I'm going to just tuck that stem over this way. Bottom end's not fully closed when I've popped it on, so it's worked in favour. So if something's not quite in the position that you want, sometimes if you're really careful you can actually just simply lift it off, put it where you want it to go. And then this one doesn't. Let's put some glue on the side, that might work. I do ramble to myself, so you can have a laugh at me if you want. There we go. That's better. Let's fasten this up because I don't want to get any more dry glue in there. So I'm going to use some silicone glue. And where's my... Where's this? I'm just going to take some of this and I'm going to take each of the leaves and put some silicone glue on the underside. You can use a cocktail stick for this. I just couldn't find my cocktail sticks today. That's sort of just a bit raised up. Again, you don't want it too raised if you're going to be posting your card anywhere. If you're giving it in person, it don't really matter, but this will help keep the leaf in the shape you want it to, and it will stick to whatever's under it. Okay. Silicone glue does take longer to dry, so give yourself plenty of time. It's not glue that you can use if you're in a rush or something. And it does squish out, so if you don't flatten it out enough, it will do it as you're pressing it down. You just want to make sure that you've got a little bit of glue all the way down so that it sticks well once it's dried. And if you press it down. And I've also made some shorter ones. I just cut one of the strips in half again, so because they're not all the same length. You need a variety in your picture. And they will stick eventually. It'll just take a while. Let's put another one of these short ones down here. That one's a bit too long, so we'll shorten him just a little. Oop. one last one here. In fact, oh, I can snip that little bit off. No, we can't, we can leave it. These are going to be joining up in the flower, so you want to try and get them as close to the base as you can. Okay. There you go. And you can always add some extra ones just sticking out from the other side if you wish. Just depends on how big of a bunch you want to put on. Got our bluebells finished, so I'm going to let them dry a little bit, and I'm just going to go get some gems, because I'm going to stick some gems on it to finish the card off, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I've got my little gems here. Just tip some out onto that. Now these are ones that need gluing on. You can use ones that have already got adhesive on the back. To you, just use whatever's in your stash. If you haven't got these, you can use new drops, or you could even make some tight coils out of your quilling strips and just have those as little embellishments. But I'm going to use these because I've got these. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pop some in each corner, I think, so we'll go this way. Sort of just frames the piece. So again, you don't have to use these drops if you don't. These are just flat back gems that I just found out. That's our lovely, delicate, ooh, wrong way, sorry about that, Bluebell birthday card. So I really enjoyed putting this one together. I've had the idea for doing this one in a while, but because of the summer holidays I've not had as much time to do filming, so hopefully I'll be able to get back into the swing of things now school's back. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, if you could give me a thumbs up, that would be appreciated, and if you've not subscribed already, if you would consider subscribing, that would be appreciated too. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.